The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited about the information that we will be providing for you. My name is Sarah Landrum, and I am the Community Financial Educator here at DCCU. And we will be bringing to you today a webinar on how to read and understand your credit report. This is actually a joint effort between DCCU and the Credit Unions Care Foundation of Virginia. The foundation was formed in 2009, and the basic purpose of the foundation is to help credit unions continue their social mission. So in 2015, the foundation launched the Smart Credit Check campaign, and the campaign is designed to help consumers understand how to read and check their credit report, as well as credit scores, and how to actually protect your credit score. So what we are going to be doing over the next couple of months is offering a series of webinars on this type of information. And today we thought we would start out with the basic information of credit reports. I know the hot topic out there today in finances is your credit score, but in order for you to understand your credit score, you have to understand the information that's actually on your credit report before we can look at that information. So during today's webinar, we are going to talk about things like what is a credit report, what information will be on your credit report, reading a sample credit report, and how to order your credit report. And before we dive into the information today, I have a question for you. It's a true or false. 60% of Americans have checked their credit report over the last 12 months. True or false? And I'll give you a few seconds to make your choice. And if you said true, you were correct. Although 85% of Americans know they can check their credit report, only 60% have in the last 12 months. And this is why the Smart Credit Check campaign is so important, because we want to raise awareness to consumers about this information, and hopefully we will be able to see that percentage increase over the next couple of years. So let's first of all talk about what is a credit report. And a credit report is basically a report that shows how well you have managed your debt obligations. It's also a report that will help a lender decide whether or not they will give you a loan, as well as different types of services like cell phone companies, insurance companies, and even if a landlord wants to rent to you. There are three main credit reporting agencies, or you'll also hear that called bureaus. But these credit reporting agencies, once someone has obtained credit with a lender, the credit reporting agencies create what is called a credit report. And they can actually sell these to financial institutions or businesses who have services like we mentioned before, or even individuals who may need to pull your credit. They sell them to these different places in order to be looked at and make loan decisions and different things like that. Something I do want to mention, even though there are three main credit reporting agencies, sometimes the information that we'll show on one may not be on all three of them. And a great example of this would be if you have a credit card with JCPenney. For some reason, they only will report to Experian. So if you're looking at all three copies of your credit report, you will see that on Experian, but you may not see that on Equifax or TransUnion. So just keep that in mind. But most of your major credit card companies, as well as financial institutions, will report to all three. And also, too, when we're talking about credit reports, it's very important that you consider your opt-out options. And basically what that means is you probably, in a week's time, get several pre-approved credit card mailings. You can opt out of these mailings, and what we're going to do today is offer you a lot of different handouts, different resources. Once the webinar is over with, we're going to email this information to you so you can look at the handouts and even have more information than what we'll be able to provide in a half an hour. And one of the handouts is from the Federal Trade Commission, and it explains your opt-out options, being able to opt out of those pre-approvals. One of the things that you will need to keep in mind, though, from time to time, you do get things in the mail that could be a benefit to you, so you may miss those. But be sure to read that handout, and it explains it in detail. So what is in your credit report? Of course, it's your report. It's a lot of information about you. Of course, there's basic information. There's your Social Security number, name, date of birth, address, employment history, alerts and consumer statements. One of the things that I want to say about alerts, what this means is you can add an alert to your credit report. What could happen is maybe you thought that someone has stolen your identity. Maybe you're in the military and you go into active duty. You can add an alert to your credit report. That way, if you or someone goes into a financial institution and tries to obtain credit in your name, the financial institution will take more precautions to make sure they ID that is truly you. And then what a consumer statement is if for some reason you notice there's something on your credit report and you want to dispute it because you don't think it should be there, you can dispute that with all three of the credit reporting agencies. However, there are times that they won't take it off. So you can add a consumer statement to your credit report. It's your story, and it's 100 words or less, and then it's attached to your credit report. And anybody that can pull your credit report can read what that statement says. That way, when they're making that lending decision, they'll see what your side of the story is, and it can stay on there for 2 years. And then also, too, a credit report will have a listing of all the creditors, anyone that has given you credit, and your payment history. We are going to look at a sample of a credit report in just a few minutes so you get a better idea of what one will look like. So we'll do that in just a few minutes. Also on your credit report, there are public record information that will show up if you file bankruptcy, if there's any kind of tax liens, if you've been taken to court and sued and you owe a judgment, that will show on there. There's also inquiries that will show on your credit report, and I'll explain these a little bit more in detail. There's two types of inquiries. Number one, there is what we call a hard inquiry, or it's a hard hit on your credit report. That is any time that you request. You go to a lender, or maybe you've applied for a store credit card, or you get one of those pre-approvals in the mail and you decide to take up the offer and you apply with them. You're actually asking for credit. So that is a hard hit inquiry that can affect your credit score, and we'll be talking about those types of things in the second webinar that we'll be offering. We'll send you an invitation for that. But that's going to be how your credit score can be affected. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail in that particular webinar. But with a hard hit, sometimes people will go out and maybe be car shopping, and you go to several different car dealerships, and you, of course, have different lenders who are pulling your credit because you want the best rate that you can possibly find. You want to get the best deal. When you are out shopping around like that, if you do that within a 30-day time period, it's only considered as one inquiry. So it's bundled together in that 30-day time frame. So you're only charged with one hard inquiry. So it won't affect your credit report if you're shopping around like that. Now, if one week you apply for a car loan, and the next week you apply for a mortgage, and then the next week you apply for a credit card, those types of things can work against your credit score. So if you're in the process of trying to improve that, you may want to limit what kind of credit you're applying for. And there's also called a soft inquiry. It's a soft hit. It does not affect your credit score. And what that means is maybe you have applied for a job, or those pre-approvals that you get in the mail, because credit card companies can, or credit reporting agencies can sell your credit report to those types of companies. You're not actually asking for that credit, so it's not going to affect your credit score. So now we are going to look at a sample credit report, and it is brought to you by Experian, which is one of the 3 credit reporting agencies. And I'm going to take you through it. I really like the sample credit report because I think it will help consumers be aware of what's on your credit report, but it's also easy to read. So let's kind of go down the page here, and the first thing that you're going to see is your name and your credit report number. It is important that you have this number in the event that you would need to contact Experian if that's the particular credit reporting agency that you are working with. So remember to have that report number. Also, too, one of the things that I really like about this credit report is you're able to navigate through it using links. And you'll notice here, number 2, you'll notice if we were able to click on these links, it's actually a secured document, so you're not going to be able to do it here. But when you order your credit report, you would be able to do it. But you can click on these links and it'll take you to that particular category, so you don't have to go down if you wanted to look at something in particular. And then number 3, we had talked about negative items that are on your credit report. This is where they would show up, any type of public records, or any types of bankruptcy or judgments or anything like that. So as we go down, then you'll see the status of the accounts. Is it a paid account? Is it past due? And also, too, over here, I really like this feature because you have the ability to dispute an item that maybe you don't think should be on your credit report, and you can actually click on the link here to Experian, and it will take you directly to the dispute form, so you can dispute it, and it's faster disputed online. And then number 5, this will be all the accounts that are in good standing, and of course it lists who you have the particular credit account with. And then number 6, it'll show you right here what type of an account is it. Is it an installment account? An installment account would be like a car loan, something that you pay the same amount every month. Is it a revolving line of credit, like maybe a credit card? So number 6 here will explain that to you. Number 7 is your history. And as you can see, we go down and it'll list all the history of the different accounts that you have. And we talked about inquiries, so any type of inquiry, if you've requested credit, it'll show. And of course, we said that can affect your credit score. If it is pre-approval, it'll show that they pulled your credit, but it doesn't affect your credit score. And then number 8, any type of personal information, you'll see like your address. It also has previous addresses. We talked about adding personal statements to your account. So, and again, I said that they'll be out there for 2 years, so you can do that. And this is another handout that you will get, so we will be emailing that to you as well, so you can look over that. And then when you get a copy of your free credit report, you can kind of compare it to the example and help you read it better. And then let's talk about how long data is on file. That's a big question that we get. once you have some type of a credit account, or if anything like bankruptcies and different things like that show on your credit report, how long are they out there? And any kind of positive line, that means something that you've paid on time. It can be on the credit report up to 10 years, and sometimes these differ with the different credit reporting agencies, but generally it is 10 years. And then if you have delinquent lines, and of course delinquent means that you didn't pay it on time, it was late at some point, it will show for 7 years. And then if you have any type of a collection, and a collection is when a debt has been handed over from the original grantor to a collection agency, and it can stay on your credit report up to 7 years from the date of the original activity with that credit grantor. So whenever you took that credit out with them and it became late, then it would be 7 years from that particular date. And then too, with bankruptcies, there's a couple of different types of bankruptcies, and if for some reason you have filed bankruptcy, then you should know what chapter you filed. And with Chapter 7 or Chapter 11, that will stay on your credit report for 10 years. And then with Chapter 12 or with Chapter 13, it can stay on your credit report for 7 years. And then a judgment normally will stay on for 7 years. What basically a judgment is if you have a debt with some type of, whether it's a financial institution or credit card company, and you've not paid it, then of course they can take you to court. And if you lose in court, or if you decide not to go to court, then it does become a public record, and that can be on there for 7 years, and it can be renewed. So once you pay it, of course, it will be taken off, or it will show as paid, but then it will stay on there for once you pay it, it'll stay on, or it'll be taken off, but it could be on there up to 6 months after you pay it. And then unpaid tax liens, they are indefinitely. This is one of the priority items on your credit report that you should pay, because it will show out there indefinitely. So if you can get those paid, then that's very important, because they can really affect your credit report and your credit score for a long period of time if you don't pay them. And then once they are paid, they can stay on there for 7 years from that paid date. So how do you obtain a free credit report? In 2003, President Bush made an amendment to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which allowed consumers to get a free copy of a credit report from each of the 3 credit reporting agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, every 12 months. And I want to take you out to the site, because I want you to know what the legitimate site is. There's a lot of different credit report websites out there that say it's a free credit report, and then they ask you for your credit card information, and you definitely don't want to put it in, because you're entitled to 3 free credit reports. So let's go out to the site. And this is what it looks like. Of course, you want to make sure you're here, annualcreditreport.com. And as I was saying, that amendment was made. The Federal Trade Commission, along with the 3 credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, manage this site. So I have a couple of recommendations for you, because we have a lot of people that will say, when should I get my credit report? Should I get all 3 of them at the same time? Should I spread it out over the year? How should I do that? And what I recommend is, if you are just looking at your credit report to look for errors, to make sure there hasn't been any type of identity theft that's happened to you, different things like that. If you're just monitoring it, I recommend that you do that over the course of a year. Maybe get one at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, and then one at the end of the year. That way you're continually monitoring it. And then if maybe you're getting ready to buy a home and you're shopping for a mortgage, I do recommend that you get all three of them at the same time. And the reason why is because when you go to a mortgage lender, they usually pull from all three of the credit reporting agencies. So you want to make sure the information on all three of them are correct. But if you're just monitoring it, I would spread it out through the year. That way you can look at them periodically. And if you don't want to go online and look at your credit report, there are two other options that you have. You can call the 800 number, and you can also request annual credit report form where you get it actually in the mail. So that is another resource that we are going to provide for you today. It's a request form. You fill it out, you mail it in, and then they mail you your credit reports. And that is all the information that I have for you today. We are going to take some time to answer any questions that you might have. So if something's popped up during the webinar, you can type that into your question box, and hopefully we'll be able to answer that for you. And while we are waiting on questions, like I had said early on, we will be offering a series of credit webinars about credit, and the next one will be how your credit score is affected. So be on the lookout for that. We post our webinars on our website, myDCCU.com, also on our Facebook page, and you are on our email list, so we'll also email you and send you that invitation. But since credit scores are such a hot topic, we want to be able to go to the next level and teach you about that. And it doesn't look like we have any questions, but if for some reason you do, something comes up, once you get all the information that we'll send you, because you will get a copy of the presentation along with the resources. If something comes up, then you can email me. My email is on the screen. It's slandrum@myDCCU.com. If you get a copy of your credit report and you just don't understand something on it, give me a call, my number, or email me. Be more than glad to go over that with you. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Goodbye, everyone.